Snow White. The film opens with a storybook introduction. There was a good king and queen, Hadley Fraser and Lorena Andrea, who were traveling during a blizzard. The queen gave birth to a princess whom they named Snow White since she was born during the storm. As Snow White, Emilia Falker, grows, she becomes acquainted with all the people in the kingdom, and they are always celebrating the good things grow. Sadly, the good queen fell ill and passed away. The king remarried a beautiful woman, Gal Gadot, that possessed magic abilities. However, once she married the king, the woman was revealed to be a cruel and vain sorceress. The king goes on a crusade to the south, after being led to believe by the evil queen that there is a threat, but after bidding Snow White farewell, he never returns. Soon the evil queen rules over the land with an iron fist, forcing much of the farmers and merchants to become her loyal guards. She is obsessed with being the fairest of them all, as told to her by her magic mirror, Patrick Page. To spare her from her jealous wrath, Snow White, now played by Rachel Zegler, is kept hidden and made to work as a scullery maid. The kingdom falls into despair due to the people being overtaxed, and hope seems to be lost. A bandit named Jonathan, Andrew Burnap, breaks into the castle and starts to steal some food. He is caught by the evil queen and forced to be made an example of by tying him to the gate. Snow White tries to appeal to the evil queen with kindness and asks her to see how the kingdom's subjects are in need of help. The evil queen is unmoved by Snow White's words. She leaves the castle and expresses hope that she can bring about a great change, waiting on a wish. Snow White goes to free Jonathan and lets him leave with some bread. The evil queen learns from the magic mirror that Snow White is actually the fairest in the land. She summons the huntsman Ansukabia and orders him to kill Snow White and to put her heart inside a box. The huntsman finds Snow White picking apples in the woods, but when he attempts to do the deed, she does not flinch and only asks him why he plans to do it. The huntsman cannot bring himself to kill her and tells Snow White that it was the evil queen who made him do it. He tells her to run into the forbidden forest. Snow White evades several scary trees until she is found by woodland creatures who are drawn to her kind nature. They then guide her to a cottage, where she falls asleep on one of the beds. 7 dwarfs, Doc, Jeremy Swift, Grumpy, Martin Kleba, Happy, George Salazar, Sneezy, Jason Kravitz, Bashful, Titus Burgess, Sleepy, Andy Grodeleweshen, and Dopey, Andrew Barth Feldman, are heading into the mines for work. Hi-ho. They have magic marks on their hands that affect the diamonds in the mines. When they return to their cottage, they find Snow White in their beds and assume she is a bandit. They flee in fear until Dopey accidentally gets locked in the room, but quickly sees that she's good. The other dwarves come in to introduce themselves, even though Grumpy thinks her being there will bring trouble. Snow White starts to leave, but after she tells the dwarfs who she is, they decide to keep her safe from the evil queen's wrath. The magic mirror confirms to the evil queen that Snow White is still alive, and the huntsman put an apple inside the box. She has him imprisoned and gloats about her villainous ways. All is fair. After a meal, the dwarfs mess around until a bowl of food falls on Dopey's head. The other dwarfs laugh at him, causing him to walk out in humiliation. Snow White follows him outside to try and comfort him. Dopey, who doesn't speak, is encouraged by Snow White to express himself through song, so Dopey starts whistling. Snow White gets the other dwarfs in on the singing, Whistle While You Work. Snow White later goes into the forest where she runs into Jonathan again. She meets his team of fellow bandits, another group of 7, who are all loyal to the king and hate the evil queen. Jonathan did not previously know Snow White was who she was when they met in the castle earlier, Princess Problems. The group is later found by the evil queen's guards who have been sent to capture Snow White. Jonathan helps hide her along with the bandits, but Snow White reveals herself. During the fight, an archer attempts to strike Snow White with an arrow, but Jonathan steps in and takes the hit before the guards flee. Snow White and the bandits bring Jonathan to the dwarf's cottage. Doc creates some kind of remedy that heals Jonathan's wound. One of the bandits informs Snow White that Jonathan took the hit for her, and both the bandits and dwarfs sense an attraction between the two of them. Although Snow White denies it at first, she and Jonathan do find themselves falling in love. A hand meets a hand. The guards eventually capture Jonathan and bring him to the evil queen, who has him thrown into the dungeon, along with the huntsman. She takes Snow White's necklace that she has always worn, and she retreats to her secret lair, where she concocts a potion that transforms her into an old woman, all is fair reprise, before heading off to deal with Snow White herself. The dwarfs go off to work, leaving Snow White at home alone. The evil queen goes to her and makes her believe that Jonathan is hurt after showing her the necklace. She then gives Snow White an apple that she dipped in poison and convinces her to take a bite. Snow White begins to lose consciousness, but not before the evil queen reveals herself and admits to Snow White that she had her father killed. Snow White falls under the sleeping death, and the dwarfs return to find her on the ground. In their sadness, they lay her body on a rock in the forest. In the dungeon, the huntsman helps Jonathan break free after learning how much he cares about Snow White. Jonathan rides back to the forest but finds Snow White seemingly dead. He goes to kiss her, which breaks the spell and wakes her up. The dwarfs rejoice, but Snow White tells them now is the time for them to take back the kingdom from the evil queen, waiting on a wish reprise. The dwarfs are so moved by her words that even Dopey speaks for the very first time, which is enough for his brothers to join the fight. Snow White makes her return to the kingdom. Snow White returns to confront the evil queen before all the subjects. The villain conjures up a dagger for Snow White to kill her, but she refuses. The evil queen orders her guards to execute Snow White, but she remembers all their names and their professions before the evil queen took over. This causes the guards to remember that they were once good people, and they turn against the evil queen. She tries to kill Snow White herself, but the bandits and dwarfs step in to stop her. With the entire kingdom turned against her, the evil queen runs to the magic mirror, with Snow White following. The magic mirror also seems to be done with the evil queen, as he reaffirms once and for all that Snow White is indeed the fairest in the land. In her rage, the evil queen smashes the magic mirror in front of Snow White, but this causes her to be consumed by the magic inside and pull her into the mirror, which reforms itself. The kingdom goes back to the way it once was. Good things grow reprise. Snow White and Jonathan get married as she returns to rule the kingdom. Dopey is revealed to have been the narrator of the story, telling the people of the kingdom of how Snow White saved them all. Yo, legends of the internet. Did this video hit harder than a double rainbow? Smash that like button if your mind is officially blown or if you're just here for the chaos.